Good afternoon, everyone. This is a short legal update on the indictment of James Comey. The indictment is fairly simple. It says on September 30, 2020, in the Eastern District of Virginia, the defendant James B. Comey Jr. did willfully and knowingly make a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement in a matter within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the government of the United States by falsely stating to a U.S. Senator during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing that he, James B. Comey Jr., had not authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation concerning Person 1. Paragraph 2. The statement was false because as James B. Comey Jr. then and there knew he in fact had authorized Person 3 to serve as an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation concerning Person 1. Let's not discuss the politics. Let's discuss the nuts and bolts. The government, to prove this indictment, to obtain a conviction, they have to prove that Comey authorized Person 3, whoever that is, to leak information about Person 1. Person 1 is thought to be Hillary Clinton, former candidate for president, former First Lady. So, Person 3 has to be identified and has to survive cross-examination. Or, I guess they could argue, they could call Person 3 to the stand. He may testify to a different version of events. Then they could call other witnesses to prove that Person 3 is also a liar. That is a lot of work for them to do. So they really, really need the cooperation of Person 3. They need Person 3 to testify against James Comey. They need Person 3 to say, Comey told me to leak this information. Unless they get that, they have no case against James Comey. We don't know what evidence they have or don't have. There are also arguments that have floated around that the indictment might be invalid because the U.S. attorney was not properly appointed. We don't know how those courts are going to rule on those issues. But assuming that all of those procedural issues go away, the problem you have, if you're the government, is you've got to get Person 3 to testify to the jury that Comey authorized him to leak information. You have to then have that person survive cross-examination. So the case depends almost entirely on Person 3. The count they used is 18 USA 1001A2, which is a false statement. Materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement in a matter within the legislative branch of the government of the United States. And there's another count for obstruction of a congressional proceeding under 18 U.S.C. 1505. That says that Comey did corruptly endeavor to influence, obstruct, and impede due proper exercise of the power of inquiry under which an investigation was being had before the Senate Judiciary Committee by making false and misleading statements before that committee. They got to prove he knew the statements were false. Again, that requires evidence that he made a statement, I have never authorized a leak, and that he knew on the day he made that statement that that was false. We don't know what evidence the government has, and we don't know who Person 3 is. We don't know how they're going to prove he authorized Person 3 to make a leak. The easiest way for them to do this is to get Person 3 to come in and testify. The second option is to use documents, text messages, and other things to show that Person 3 was authorized to do this by Comey, but that's harder because then you have more witnesses involved. Person 3 then much hinges on what Person 3 says to the jury. So this is a tough case. to prove, because you have to find person 3, have him survive cross-examination, or find somebody else to testify that person 3 was told by Comey to do the leak, and then you run into problems with hearsay and other problems. So what proof do you have that Comey authorized the leak? That's the hard part of this case. This is a technically difficult and challenging case that will be hard for the government to prove. I don't know whether Comey is guilty or innocent, and I would suspect that much of the commentary online is flawed because no one knows if Comey was guilty or innocent. We don't know who person 3 was, and we only think person 1 was Hillary Clinton, but we don't know that. So this case, until we learn more about it, this is a difficult case for the government to prove. They may prove it, they may not, but it's a hard one to prove. Thank you. I will report if there are any pertinent updates.